If it's Quaker basketball you came for, it is Quaker basketball we're going to give you here on The Fast Break. The Fast Break with Zach Ross, our new podcast, the new developing situation that used to be, just a printed newsletter. Now we are live and completely digital. Though I am not Zach Ross. I'm Denny Trimmer, and for lack of a better term, I guess I'm kind of your host for this show. The man himself sitting just to my right, the head boys basketball coach at New Philadelphia High School, Zach Ross. Zach, number one, welcome. Number two, congratulations, you've got your own podcast.
Yeah, I mean, super excited about that. Never knew this day was going to come, but whenever you get Coach Trim involved, you know it's going to be elite, and I appreciate you setting this all up. I'm excited about this. Excited to see where this takes us. So I'm really ecstatic about getting this podcast started and seeing who out there is going to tune in.
Oh, it's going to shake out to be some great stuff as we go on and on, episode after episode, podcast after podcast. But certainly the things don't happen in this program without you, and having your voice at the center of this is how people are really going to know to well, this is where we go for our information about Quaker basketball. Thanks for being transparent, open, forward-thinking in terms of wanting to get this information out to the masses.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is just going to be great for everybody. Like you said, replacing the newsletter, that's kind of old school right now. I think this is kind of the age that we're in. I think this is going to be awesome for people just to turn on, learn more about Quaker basketball, hopefully hear some great stories, and just give a little bit back to what the game has given me. Not that I know everything, but I've been lucky enough to have learned a lot from a lot of great people, and I'm also surrounded by a ton of great people that have shown me a lot. So sharing that information back out, I think this should be a really fun ride.
This is Fast Break with Zach Ross, brought to you in part today by Jeff Mathias of Howard Hanna Realty. Of course, he was a Quaker standout on the hardwood and a longtime Quaker supporter. But Jeff Mathias, if you didn't know, has been ranked in the top 1% of realtors in the state of Ohio for the past 30 years. You can call Jeff or his licensed assistant Doreen today, 330-827-1038, to get on the path to home ownership. And you talk about home, I think home court advantage. Let's go. And you had to move back, of course, with some aid from Jeff and his team at Howard Hanna.
Yep.
Got you back home to where you belong. Your first job, or first year on the job here at New Philadelphia, I want to know the answer to a couple of questions. The first is, what did it mean to you and your family to get the job? And the second part of that is, did the expectation meet the reality?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of unique because really just in the past couple of weeks, another great thing about social media is you get these memories that happen on like your Facebook, and it's just like a year ago, like you see the post that we accepted the job, and my wife and I kind of look at each other and be like, what a year it's been. And I still remember the day where like you hear the new Philly job is open, and it's just like, well, this is about the only job we were going to leave Jonathan Alder for, and here it is. So a lot of talks happen, and like, hey, let's just jump in full swing and go after it. And lucky enough, the administration team chose me to take over the program and lead, and it's been great. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm surrounded by a ton of great people. Getting Coach Trim on staff, of course. You have Kyle Sunheimer, which was like a huge keep for us. He's
according to some sources, he's the best in the state at what he does.
He is. He just got the D2 Assistant Coach of the Year, and no one more deserving than that. I still remember shooting him a text, actually. I was just joking with him, and I knew that was the first text I had to do whenever I get the job, and all of a sudden he doesn't text back, and then like hours are going by, and I remember just like, well, man, maybe this guy's not going to help me. So I'm starting to panic, and then all of a sudden he texts back and says, of course, he's finishing a project at one of his 8 patios out back on Goshen Avenue. So getting him, and it's been awesome. Like like you said, the home court advantage is truly here. We have an amazing gym, one of the best in the state of Ohio. The support, you're going to hear about all of our sponsors throughout the show, and we have a ton of them. We have a ton of people that are invested in New Philly basketball. And that part is just awesome. Like I'm getting called to lunches for the Lions, the Rotary Club, getting our sports luncheons, and it's just unique. It was the expectation. I didn't think it was that big, but it's kind of been awesome that it's that big. People care a lot about their sports in New Philly, and what it means to my family has been awesome. Having my kids have the ability to grow up next to their grandparents is something that was invaluable for both me and my wife, and having them be able to do that Mimi and Pops, Grammy and Poppy, just swinging by anytime they can to pick up the kids. I think they're more excited to have them home than me and Emily. But it's been awesome being that close to my family, seeing them. And, like, we don't have to get in a car after we see them on a Sunday and drive back and go. And I remember my kids a couple times being sad, like, why are we leaving? Well, now we don't have to do that anymore. We're home, and we're home for good. We love the New Philadelphia program. Obviously, the basketball program has just become a huge part of our lives just in a year. My kids are already trained for Quaker Hoops. They know all about it. They're starting to develop that love for everything Quaker and walking over and seeing all the sports track meets this spring too. It's been an awesome experience to have, and we hope to continue it for a long time.
So a lot of highlights on your reel from this past season, your first as the head coach. Of course, we're talking to Zach Ross on the Fast Break podcast. I'm going to touch on maybe one today and then another on continuing episodes of our show. I want to know what it was like for you, your first experiences in the New Philadelphia-Dover rivalry.
Yeah, for sure. And we got our outlet here, and there's a couple stories that I'll hit on later, but it's a big deal. My wife and her family are diehard Quaker fans their whole life. Me and her have been together since high school, so seeing her going to a couple of those games, and it's a big deal, and like there's definitely a rivalry there, and it's meaningful. In every sport, it's a big deal. No matter what sport it is, all of a sudden you say Philly Dover, everybody wants to just go check it out and be in that game. And our first game was at Dover, and we're there, and you're waiting on it, and all of a sudden it's here, and it's just like, holy smokes! Like the gym is filling up for the freshman game, the JV game, and then when you finally walk out of that locker room, it's surreal. Like I can't explain it, and it was a great experience. And obviously being able to get a win over there and to play the way we did, I thought our team executed flawlessly. We were on top of it. Our staff did an outstanding job preparing, and it was unbelievable. Like there's nothing like it.
So here's you moving back home, your first time in this rivalry. You look down the sideline and you see Bob Von Kennel, one of the state's all-time greats in terms of number of games won. Do you take pause for a moment there as well?
Yeah, for sure. Like somebody mentioned, he took the Dover job in 1991, and I just turned one. So he's been there a while. He's obviously unbelievably successful in everything he does, and it's like you remember being in high school and seeing the Dover teams, and like they're always winning, and that's just like what he's done over there. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm getting ready to go up against this guy, and it's a big deal. Like it matters a lot in this community, and you just kind of have to take yourself back and trust your past and who you are and what the program that you're trying to build and upon that culture. And it was an awesome experience. Like I'll never forget it.
So you get the first win in that matchup under your belt at their place. Talk about the different feel when you step out and it's your home floor. This place was a buzz.
Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. Really so much of a buzz that I kind of stopped checking in on the JV game, as bad as that is as the head coach.
And it was a tremendous JV.
It was an unbelievable game, and I remember sitting out there at the beginning of the JV game, and people were rushing in for this game. Obviously, Dover had only had 2 losses, and we had been playing really well, and it's the last game of our regular season, and like it's filling up. Like the JV game's sold out, and it's walking people up in the catwalks, and I was like, finally, I need to go back to the office because I'm getting too juiced up right now. And then you finally walk out, and it's like game on. Like this is why you coach. This is why these kids play. To have the ability to play in a rivalry like that, just unmatched. Like no other high school kid is getting that opportunity to play in a game like that.
Zach, something you brought with you when you took the job was some pretty impressive core values. Not a bunch of lengthy slogans and statements, but you want the kids to be passionate, relentless, and together. Together seems to be that carry-through thread that we used a lot through social this past season, and it's certainly not something we did without having real meaning behind it. So talk about together and what it means in terms of your principal values.
For sure. I spent a crazy amount of time thinking about these. It's kind of something that I developed whenever I was at Hilliard Bradley with an amazing staff there, and where I learned a ton. As I remember me and Coach Norris, Coach Alaco, we kind of got to a hotel room. We're at a clinic, and we're just kind of like we're so much into being great on and off the court. Like, let's have some meaning behind that. Let's give ourselves a little bit more of an identity. And like, we just kind of wrapped it out in a hotel room for hours upon hours and spending time on thinking about what words. And it kind of started there with that. And I was just kind of like, no matter whenever I take a program over, I want an identity. Like, who can we fall back on? It doesn't have to be Packline defense or Princeton offense or what set are we going to run. Regardless of the situation, can we have a culture and identity that defines us and how we play? And I think, like you said, relentless, passionate, and then together is kind of that overarching theme. And you got to be together, like, no matter what, like good times and bad. We end every practice with something that I think is uncommon. Like, after we break out together on three, we break out, and then every kid has to shake hands or fist bump every coach and player and say, "I love you." And I think that goes along with that together thing, because we're going to spend this much time together in the dark months of winter, and we're going to sell out and give time away from our families and be together and go through the grind. If you don't love each other, it's going to be really tough to be successful. And I think that love factor, and saying that, it's kind of awkward when we get freshmen in the program, and they're kind of like, what's going on? Like, it's not used to saying something like this, and like, we want it to be uncommon. I think it's an important piece, because if I love that guy next to me and I love what we're a part of, all of a sudden you're willing to do a little bit more than what it takes. You're trying to do that extra each and every day. And I think the together thing is really what defines our season, like how together we are. Like, early in the year, we are all sitting on a 3-game losing streak, and we're on our way home from Mansfield Senior, and we just got whacked and really embarrassed there. And I remember just on that bus, it was kind of like, it's not really about changing what we're doing offensively. We just got to do what we're doing better, and we got to be more together. And I think that led to a 10-game winning streak after that. Like, I don't think we faltered. We continue to believe in our core values and who we are, and we just had to be better at it. There's no changing what we were doing. It's just how we were doing it, I think, is the more important piece. And if you're not together and you can't say you love that guy next to you, you're going to have some issues. And I truly believe that.
This is the Fast Break podcast with Zach Ross, and talking about love there for a second. Didn't want to get too far sidetracked, but people we love, a guy, Don Kemp. Don Kemp, Nationwide Insurance here in New Philadelphia. You can get Nationwide on your side with a call to Don and his team at Kemp Insurance, 330-339-4211. Home, auto, life, business, farm insurance. You can talk with Don, his son Nathan, longtime agent Tom Andrews, or any of the great staff at Kemp Insurance. Call or stop by their East High Avenue location for your free insurance quote today. Zach, one thing we wanted to carry over when we bridged from the Fast Break newsletter to the Fast Break podcast is our triple threat. And it's what we kind of jokingly say is 3 things that we love and we want to share. Sometimes those are books, other podcasts, movies we like, your favorite restaurants, which we'll dive into another time, I'm sure. But today I thought this is going to be a really good one to set the table for future podcasts. I want to know, from this past season, your first as our head coach, your favorite 3 behind-the-scenes moments from the season that you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. Obviously, you sent me this, and like so many things come to my mind, so many things I would want to share. The first thing that kind of happens is you get the job, you're excited, it's a big deal, as we talked about, and all the support and the passion that's in this community. And our first 2 games get moved. So we're practicing forever, it feels like, and everybody's just itching to get that first game and see what the product is looking like. And that day is December 9th. And that's a day I'm never, ever going to forget, because there's just so much going on in my life on that day. In the middle of the night before, my wife's grandmother passes away, the Bixel family, and they're huge Quaker fans. And like, you feel for them, and my wife, it's a wave of emotions right there, and they're Quakers. So like, that comes to my mind. Okay, like, there's so much emotion right there. It's also the day that my dad is going into surgery, and he's donating a kidney to my Uncle Doug, who's my godfather. So much is happening with that day right there. Just those 2 things, you take away the passion of a basketball game. So there's so much going on, and then also we have our first game, and you're prepared for it. We're ready for it. There's been so much practice in going into this game. So I think about my wife, her family. I think about my dad, who's I know hurting because he can't be at the game, and how much he's been involved in my coaching life and what a support system he is, and thinking about my Uncle Doug. So it comes to my mind like, you better win this freaking game. like there's a lot of people that are counting on you right now. And sure enough, our kids, as they've done so many times this year, they came through, they executed, they played their hearts out, and we end up getting a win. And there's just, you breathe after the game a little bit, and there's everybody's thinking, and I see my wife's family being there, and it was awesome to have their support. Obviously, you don't know whether to cry, smile, hug, and then you're getting the text updates leading up to the game. How's Dad? How's Uncle Doug? And how's the family doing? How's everybody? It was a whirlwind of emotions that day, and it's a day I'm never, ever going to forget. It was a great day. December 9th was a great day to kind of kick off the game mode and my first win here, and I have the basketball down in the man cave already over there. So
there's no way you have two other stories that have that much meat on the bone. That's something.
No. And I wanted to lead off with that one. It was a great day for me and my family, and be there, have my kids there, Grace and Noah, my wife, and just being able to give her a hug after the game. It was just so much going on. Glad we were able to get that win too, to cap it off for all the people that deserve it. So then to take it, totally flip it off the heartstrings right there. Obviously this year I had my dad. He helped out at the middle school level, huge part of my life, coaching. We talk daily. And then another person I talk to daily is like my brothers or my best friends. But Luke lives locally, and he was kind of like, hey, like, you're getting a job, I think I'd like to help coach. So, I was just, me and Luke are best friends, and it's kind of like, all right, this is going to be cool. And me, him, and Suds hit it off immediately. Suds is kind of like another older brother for him. Suds can bully him a little bit sometimes, but they're the best of friends. And I threw Luke on Coach Trim's staff. You got the short.
I loved working with Luke. I don't know what your problem is with him.
Well, true, you guys went undefeated, so I don't know. I mean, this should be talking about that. But so Luke jumps on, and we give him the job during varsity games. Like, you got to keep stats for us on the iPad, and it's important. Like, the first game of the year, that December 9th game, he like messed up, and I was like, well, you got to redo it, Luke. And he was like, kind of looking at me like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna wake up, you have to watch it, you have to redo it. Like, I'm dead serious. Now all of a sudden this is a big deal, and all of a sudden it's not all just me and you joking around, talking and BSing with each other. So he has that job, and also his job at halftime is I need the 10-minute clock. So he stays out and he syncs it up with the iPad. As soon as they start that 10-minute clock, boom, go, and then go to the office, talk, go to the team room, and we talk to him, and he's giving me updates so I know how much time so we get our team out to the floor. Well, I don't even remember the game. It's a home game. We don't finish the half well, and I'm heated. Okay, and as my buddy Suds, he's heated. So we're on a direct storm.
He's a bit emotional anyway.
So if you know Suds, he has the walk where he's out on his toes right now. So we are both ticked walking back there. And we go back to the office and we vent a little bit. We're trying to figure out. But on the way back to the office, we're mad. And I'm just like, where's the stats at? Suds doesn't have it. So he turns around and we know that's Luke's job. Like, Luke usually gives it Suds. So we're just like, so all of a sudden I go 0 to 100. I'm like, where's Luke? Like, get Luke right now. Suds all of a sudden, he knows, like, he's trying to, he's like, where the heck is Luke? So Suds takes off sprinting back towards the court to find Luke. So all of a sudden Luke says he turns the corner right into Steely's office, and Suds about tackles him and rips the iPad out of his hand and gets it. But Luke, his defense, he said they didn't start the 10-minute clock, so he's out there waiting. And he knows, he's like, I know Suds and my brother are going to be ticked at me for not getting this iPad to him in a timely fashion.
And would you not be scared to death if Suds was charging at you and ripping things out of your hand?
He gets out on those toes right there. I can, as a linebacker,
there's a certain strut.
There's definitely a strut to it. So, like, that is a story that we think about and laugh a lot. And another halftime story, we're walking in at halftime, and me and Suds are always venting, and we're walking in, and he turns around to say something to me, and Luke has a smile on his face. Now, Luke blames Coach Trim for saying something
funny.
This
was at West Holmes. It was my first game on the bench.
Yes, so Luke blames his head coach, throws you under the bus, and he says he was smiling. And Suds looks at Luke. He's like, what are you smiling about? And Luke just doesn't know what to do and freezes. But just kind of one of those in the heat battles. And I think that's what makes our staff in the program, and back to that together piece. Like, inside the lines, there's going to be some heated moments, but after the game, you just hug it out. I love you. Let's move on and keep finding ways to get better. So another good little story. my second story is having my brother on staff that way. The third is another just super special night with the team, and that was here against Dover. We're sitting on 1,299 wins, getting ready. The Dover game, like I said, I'm hiding in the office because the atmosphere is electric. Like our gym is unlike any other. I was just at the North-South game to watch our Carter Vandal play in it, and I had a coach that I knew from Columbus, and he's talking to me, how's the move back home? It's great. He goes, man, I went to go scout a game, the Garraway Malvern game, which was played here, and he's like, that gym is unbelievable, and it's electric. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, wait till you're coaching at it against Dover. Like, I couldn't even contain my heartbeat. So we go out, we get down early, and we didn't panic. Like, you could tell it was going to be a slow, grind-out game. We didn't panic. We come back, find a way to win. Our team executes. They did so much. Our staff being prepared the way we were, it was awesome. And then, so we get that win. You said the JV game was unbelievable. It was electric. Our JV team comes storming back. And there's so many great pictures you see of that. We joke with Coach Suds that was the first JV win in 17 years because he was the JV coach. But I think Suds had a couple wins.
He may or may not have won once or twice.
But the story's better whenever you say 17 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you got to build it up. So we get the win. We're putting up the 1,300 win. We're celebrating. As you know, our team likes to hang out in the court for a long period of time. Our league schedule is done, but we knew Mansfield Senior and Lexington were playing that night. And if Lexington loses, we share the league. So we got people on the phone, and everybody's out kind of hanging out. And I'm kind of like, I know what's going on, but I don't want to know what's going on because I'm also like, man, like this night's going too perfect right now. Like you see the emotions of my family. My wife loves when Philly beats Dover. Like our hug after was awesome. My kids are pumped. And I'm like, this just can't happen. Can Mansfield really do it? So Mansfield has a chance to win, or they're up to. Lexington sends it to overtime. You're like, oh my gosh. So I just come back here and sit in the office and was sitting here in peace while everybody's out there kind of paying attention to it. My dad comes back. He's talking to me. He's like, you paying attention to the game? I was like, no, I'm not paying attention. I'm nervous. So then I kind of go out, and then you just hear Colton Slaughter like, they got me. Like, we're OCC champs. And then, like, our team is still hanging around, and it was just seeing the joy on our players' faces for all the hard work, the grind that we did. You can almost just see it, like, it meant something.
League title. Let's cut down some nets.
Exactly. So I was like, hey, let's go get a ladder. Let's get some scissors out. Let's cut down nets. These guys deserve it. And what a night that was. It was really, really memorable. If I could limit it to three, I don't think we want to go for an hour, but it was an awesome 3 stories right there for you, Trim.
That, my friend, is a triple threat. Zach, thanks for sharing. This is the Fast Break podcast with Zach Ross, brought to you in part today by MAP Investment Services. Building long-term relationships is their top priority at MAP Investments. They start your financial journey by taking the time to listen to your needs and dreams, just as they do with each and every client. If you're ready to learn more, give Brian Proctor a call, 330-339-6308. You can find them online at mappinvestments.com. That's MAPP investments.com. Zach, we don't really have a time schedule, but I feel like we're running out of time. So this is our last dash, the run out. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening, and hopefully this is something you've enjoyed. If so, you know how to get in touch with Zach or myself. Phone, text, Twitter, email, whatever. Just let us know what you're thinking about the show. And certainly, now this is Zach, not me. I want no part of this. But Zach is ready to take your questions, your show thought, ideas. So now all your coaching buddies are like, yeah, I've got you.
Oh, yeah,
and they're sending material as we talk. But Zach, just a quick chance to take a cursory glance of some things we'll dive into detail in later shows. What's coming up in the coming months for the Quakers?
Yeah, for sure. Just getting ready to finish up our spring. We're looking forward to, obviously, our team and trying to find out what our new team's going to look like, and our summer schedule, and going to some camps and shootouts as well. We're really excited about having our youth camp, which is June 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's information on our website about that and how to register. We got all that information out to the elementary kids, which is a really fun time. Go out there and see them. And then our golf outing, we moved it. It's not going to be in October this year. It's going to be August 5th at Oak Shadows, and there's some information. We're starting to get some teams already. There's availability to sponsor holes and corporate sponsors as well. Last year we sold out of teams. We had to turn teams away. So if you're interested in playing, we'd love to have you out there. Hopefully it's going to be a great day to support Quaker basketball and just being around our alumni, which is one of the really fun things about this job as well. And other than that, I'm really looking forward to the show. Trim, I want to say thank you for getting us all set up. I love being around Coach Trim, our Director of Basketball Operations, Dobo.
Not Doe Boy.
Yeah, as somebody said. But I want to thank you. Looking forward to seeing where this takes us. Appreciate everybody out there taking a look in. It's not that I'm trying to say that I know everything. It's just sharing out what the game has given me, like I said, and also highlighting some of the amazing people around me and this program.
Coach, you hit it out of the park. Congratulations. Great first show. This has been the Fast Break Podcast with Zach Ross. I'm Denny Trimmer, and we're out.